Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and right now you'll be able to hear quite a few sounds around. That is because it's not actually any edited music or nice nature sounds. It's actually because I'm by the beach in Thailand at this cafe, so you'll be able to hear people maybe talking and absolutely enjoy the sound of the waves with each time I speak to you. Now on this podcast, a very, very small one, I want to talk to you about a question that I actually asked on Facebook and Twitter just yesterday. Now this question was, what would you do if money was no object? And I said, really think about that for a moment and comment with your answer. Now maybe I wasn't as clear, or I didn't put it as exactly how I should have done, but the type of responses were all, I'd say 90% of them were responses of, well, if I had all the money in the world, I would donate to charities, I'd open up sanctuaries to help animals, children, orphanages, all these different types of things, pay off debts, help their children, help their friends, and all sorts. Now, I love that as an answer, but it wasn't exactly the answer I was looking for based on the question that I asked. You see, I even had to say it again, and I actually said, I'll rephrase my question regarding the money. If money was no issue, all your outgoings and bills were covered, with that freedom, what would you do in life? So what would you do in life if you had that absolute freedom? Now, 90% of the answers were the exact same thing. I'd be able to give money to charity, fund research, help friends, help animals, help my family, to do all these wonderful things with money in mind. So it got to me thinking that maybe it wasn't necessarily just my question, maybe partly, but more that we buy into the money mindset. Now, I have no problem with money, in the sense that I have no grievances against it. I don't have any scarcity around it. I don't have too much attachment over it, because I know that money is not something that can solve happiness. It can maybe help our situation, pay off our debts. It can do many good things in the world, so I have no negatives attached to it in a positive, or any negatives toward the negative. So it's really important to realize that this money mindset is something that we've learned through society. You see, in life, we have been taught that we have to have a certain income, a certain job, which will allow us to pay our bills and allow us to do certain things, and we teach the exact same strategy to our children in schools. Now, I remember when I was at secondary school, so like the end of my high school, if you're in America or other countries will use the term high school, but we always used to get asked, well, what do you want to do in your life? Now to me, I was thinking, well, I want money. So I thought, I'm going to learn business. I don't know what to do in business, but I thought it could be quite interesting, and I am going to learn predominantly business to earn money, which will allow me to have the house, the car, the family, the 2 holidays a year, and the pension, to be able to have that security. And that's a very common thing in the world. But that's not what life is about. You see, we have this benchmark in life to be able to reach this inner security or outer security when it is in terms of money, in the things that we own and the things that we do. But I want to propose to you a new way of thinking. Now, I'm not going to tell you to do this overnight, but I want you to really consider the question of, what would you do if money was no option? What things would you do in life that would please you? What would be your ideal thing that you'd be doing most of the time? Now, for some it could be traveling. For others it could be reading. For others it can be painting. It could be doing a hobby more consistently. It could be putting your joys, your passions into doing a certain activity in your life. And I want you just to consider exactly what you'd be doing. Consider it now as if money was no option. What would you do in life with that new freedom? What would you do in life? And it can be a hard question to answer sometimes. For some it may come easy. But for others, you may be thinking, well, I just don't know. And I completely understand that because I've been there as well. When I left business, I left the business when it comes to college, I actually dropped out and I found myself an insurance job, and I got to the point of thinking, well, I'm living for the weekend. I'm living for 2 days a week, which is 52 days a year. No, that's not right, is it? That's 52 weekends, so that's double that. So that would be 104 days. I hope that's right anyway, but I was literally living for those amount of days a year in order to do what I really want to do in life. But that's not the way life is meant to be. Maybe society, maybe how we were taught up, how our parents brought us up, and it's not their fault because it's how their parents brought your parents up, and it goes all the way back. When we develop this whole money culture of security and having to get certain things in your life, to get a house, get a mortgage, to be able to go through college, to be able to get a foundation, to get a secure job, which will allow you to then do the exact same thing and tell your children to do the exact same thing. It's a culture that we've just learned to do. Now, someone asked me the question back on myself, which was wonderful on the Facebook. And I said, well, Joseph, what would you do? And that got me thinking. Because if that person asked me, say, 3 months ago, it would definitely be not what I was doing. I'd say most of the things I was really enjoying, but it wasn't really getting me my own joy, my own bliss, my own happiness. But when I considered that question yesterday, I can honestly tell you I would be doing nothing else than I am right now. And this is not to, once again, this is not to try and to impress you. I'm not here to say, oh, I've got this, I've got that. I want to be able to just speak to you directly, to you consciously and unconsciously, about my own experiences of life. Because I've been in situations where I've been depressed, anxious, blushing, self-conscious, living a unfulfilling job, doing all these type of things. I've been and had issues. But when this person asked me that question, it would be exactly what I'm doing right now. Right now, I am working out a few times a day. So I'm actually kind of getting my body back in health and fitness, which has been something I've been wanting to do for many, many months. Second of all, I'd want to be by the beach right now, and as you can see, or hear even, you can hear the beach. So I'm spending the afternoons on this nice, real quiet beach, in this nice, it's actually called the Café Del Mar, which is a great song, by the way, as well. And ultimately, this is the type of lifestyle right now that I want. I want to be able to be talking to you, recording podcasts, and I could be communicating with you, writing. I want to be able to think and read and watch inspirational videos and things like that. I want to be able to see the sunsets and the sunrises. I want this lifestyle that I'm having right now. And you might be thinking, well, Joseph, it's easy for you to do that because you're doing it. Well, that wasn't the case 3 months ago. It wasn't the case a month ago. And it definitely wasn't anywhere near the case 10 years ago when I had all these issues. But the thing is, it all starts when you consider, what would you do if money was no option? Or no importance, that you had all of that covered? What would you do in your life? And then I would suggest you doing it. It doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow and just start being a painter. Very rarely that people can actually do that and make a living having just quit their job, because they have maybe debts, they may have loans, they may have children to look after, they have obligations. So I'm not saying that you must just let things go and just do what you love, because that's not wise either. But the key is to start doing what you want to be doing bit by bit. So, for example, I know many people, and I see it on Facebook and so on, always watching TV about these TV shows where you vote for these musicians and singers and so on, or the programs on TV, these dramas and so on, which is no problem. But at the same time, these people are complaining about their life. They're complaining as to why they don't have money, or why they don't have a job they want, or why is life so hard. Well, to me, it's like, well, what's your priority? What's your value here? Because you can do it. By the very nature of you listening right now means you are either A, waking up to this possibility of how powerful you are, because you know this information having listened to my work, or read my book, or listened to some hypnosis tracks that I've done, or read other people's work in the self-development field. So you have woken up and you're waking up, which is wonderful. For others of you, you might be just curious as to what's all this stuff about, and you're just considering it, which is a great place to be. Everything and everyone starts somewhere. But the key is to realize that there'll be things in your day that you'll be doing which will not be of value to you compared to doing what you love. So it's not about quitting the job, it's not about kind of running away from debt or anything. It's about thinking, feeling and being who you are as a person. Taking away that hour of TV time, or taking an hour of whatever else you may be procrastinating about, or losing yourself out. Maybe it's going down to the pub or drinking and with friends and so on. That can be okay, but what's more important? Would it be more of value to you to start being the real you and flowing with life? To truly enjoy doing what you want, with the end outcome, whether it takes days, weeks, months, or even a year from now, to be able to be doing what you do full time, and actually maybe getting money for it, or absolutely getting money for it in the most abundant way, because you know that money doesn't equal anything. For example, my brother had an amazingly well-paid job, very successful what he does, but he gave it all away and quit his job, all that money, because he was so stressed. He didn't have balance and harmony in his health, in his relationship, that something had to give. And he thought, well, this is not worth my health. I'm not going to be doing this for another 30, 40 years of my life and have all this money in an account and not be able to enjoy it because I'm unwell, because I'm fatigued, I'm stressed, I'm sick, not being able to sleep properly, being anxious or worried. You see, you've got to make it. There comes a time when you've got to make a decision for yourself, where you go, I am more powerful and capable, and I can do what I want. And even you say, well, how can I make money as a painter or as a writer? Well, there's always going to be examples in the world where people have. So what makes you so different? Or to be an expert in any given field that you desire takes investment of time, not necessarily money, but investment in time. So if you cut out that 1 hour a day and invested in educating yourself, or doing what you love consistently, the skill set that you get very quickly will be profoundly affecting how you do whatever you be doing as a hobby. And absolutely, people, there's always a demand out there doing what you'd like to do. There's always a way, in other words. That's what I'm trying to say. It might not be easy. You might not know the answer. I might not know the answer for you personally. But there will always be a way, and you've got to be open and conscious to this experience. That life is about experiencing this present moment. Right here, right now. To fully embrace this moment in who you are as a person. When we're considering about work and having doubts about money and all these things, we're not living in the moment. That when you do what you love, you are living in the moment. All things just simply disappear out of existence because you're fully present in being who you are as a person. That gets you in inner alignment when it comes to your mind and body and health. It completely transforms your relationships. It completely even transforms your money situation over a period of time. When I first started doing hypnosis, I quit my job in insurance and I started working part-time. Now, of course, being realistic, I was living at home at the time at 18, so I did have easier ways of doing things. So it might not be the case that you quit and go for a part-time job unless you can do. But at least for an hour a day, you could invest, maybe even 2 hours a day, in doing what you love and finding out ways of how to do it. If you invested just 2 hours a day, or even let's just say an hour a day, that's 7 hours you'll be gaining each week. And if we just do the maths beyond that, think how much more time you're going to be doing what you love over a period of a year. How would your expertise in doing what you love get so good that people will be wanting your work? Your passion, in other words, not even work, but they'll perceive it as work. See, I do what I do because I enjoy helping people. I don't even get paid for any of these podcasts. I've invested well over 100 hours into recording and in editing these free audios and videos, at the very least, let alone trying to get them out there. In fact, it's an expense to me when it comes to putting up, holding them on my server, paying people to do website modifications. It's an expense to me. But I enjoy it. I want to be able to help as many people in the world, and I don't mind taking that expense in time and that expense in money, because that is worth a sacrifice for me for where I am right now. I've come up with ways to be able to supplement my income to live a lifestyle which I am comfortable with. Now, I do not have the Ferraris, the Porsches, I don't have the houses, but that's not important to me because that's not what life is necessarily about. I could definitely go for that, by the way. If I wanted to, I could pull all my hundreds of hours of podcasts. I could go really heavy into like sales letters and copywriting. I could really invest time. I could hire someone to do that and sell all my audios at a far greater price. I could be charging all my audios on my apps, my free podcast to a massive level. And I can guarantee I'd be earning so much more money than I am right now. But that's not a problem for me, because you see, I'm enjoying where I am. The value of doing what I love, helping people for free, is far greater than if someone said, well, here's a house fully paid off, you can live in it if you stop doing what you're doing. I would never do that, because this is who I am as a person. I'm embracing this moment every time I speak to you and consider my thoughts for you as a person. And I never say this to impress you, but more to give you an example that I am doing it right now, so therefore you can. And it's not about my background, it's not about because I've been maybe educated because I wasn't, because my family are rich because they're not, because I had the ability to get good at business because I didn't. I've had to learn these things along the way. And I am refusing to give in to any excuse or any reason as to why I can't live the life that I want and desire, because that is the most highest in alignment with who I am as a person. And I want that for you. I want you to consider, what would you be doing if money was no problem? But if you could just do what you want in life, how would you spend your time? What would you be doing? And then I want you to invest an hour a day into either practicing it and researching how you can make it happen. This way, in a year's time from now, even for example, if it took you 5 years from now, and you're investing an hour a day and you're cutting out that TV time, or you're cutting out some other time which is not of as great as value as doing what you love, would it still be of value to you? Would it still be of importance to you? Now, I'm going to guess, even in 5 years' time, I said, look, if you just did an hour a day for the next 5 years in doing what you love and just educating and learning that bit more, and it would allow you to live and do whatever you desire in your hobby and your passion for the rest of your life, would you do it? Now, the chances are, if I could guarantee that, you would say, absolutely, Joseph, I would do that for the next 5 years. If you said no, then it might not be the thing that you really want to be doing. Because I can promise you now, when I started doing this, I've been in debt very heavily trying to get my business off the ground. And I don't advise that, by the way. That was just very silly on my part. Learning, so you could say. But for a good many years, although I was enjoying what I was doing, I was not making enough money to necessarily survive in a great way. I should have technically got a job to supplement my income over the years, but I didn't, personally. So once again, I'm not suggesting you do that once again, but I want you to know that I've been there, and I would do it all over again. I'd probably do another 5-10 years if that was the case, because I know that the rest of my life I'd be doing what I love. And here's the thing as well. Here's the buyback, really, because when you start doing what you love, even for an hour a day at first, you will become happier, you'll become more peaceful, more driven and more motivated. And in turn, that will create new empowering thoughts, empowering feelings, and that causes your unconscious mind to develop empowering behaviors as well. And wherever your attention is, it expands, you see. So with each thought, it expands further and bigger and brighter. So that way, your mind unconsciously is looking for more ways of how you could do this as a living, more consistently, more profoundly, and more every day and every moment. You see, once you make this shift and you start to awaken your mind to the new possibilities of you, you will always be looking for more of it. But the more we buy into society, the more we buy into this money mindset, or the debt mindset, or I have to do this mindset, or who am I to do what I want to do mindset, you will be giving in to the reason and excuse as to why you should remain doing what you do. You'll be buying into society's and the media's expectations because that's all you see around you. I want you to look for examples of people doing what they love, whether it be athletes, whether it be myself doing what I love, whether it be entrepreneurs. Because you don't see entrepreneurs retiring. They will make businesses, spend a bit of time on the beach, within a week or two they're back creating new businesses because that's their thing. That's what they enjoy and love doing. So what I'd like you to do is take time out to consider, what would you do if money was no option? How would you spend your time? And then come up with a plan 1 hour a day in either doing it so you begin to expand your expertise in it, and also to research ways in how you can begin to make this happen, because there's always someone wanting something. Everyone wants to do something different in life, so it's not like everyone's going to suddenly become painters, and plus not everyone's waking up just yet. So you can begin to come up with a plan which will allow you to do this more consistently in the most profound way that gives you that health, happiness, to transform your health, relationships, your career, and your finances. This is a way forward. I really believe it. And by listening to this, you're waking up, and by taking action on it, you'll make it a reality. Go ahead and visit me on facebook.com/Joseph fan page and twitter.com/Joseph Clough to really get involved with the conversation. Begin to ask questions, begin to consider these things, begin to respond to my questions on there, and really think about it, because it gets you connected with my community, and together we can support each other in a way that allows us to live life the way it's meant to be. So I hope you enjoyed that, really consider it, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Have a great day, many thanks, and goodbye.